Welcome everyone to another Monday morning meeting with telehealthtoday.net. And as always, we have a speaker that you can actually book an appointment with on the website. And this week we have a graphic designer and brand specialist who has formed her own company, and she helps business owners basically. Well, I'll let her tell you without further ado. She's the founder of BizForge Agency. Maria, the stage is yours. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, James. Uh, yes, well, I'm Maria Salcedo. I have been working as graphic designer and web developer for a long time. Now I decided to create my own agency. And this time, or at least like during constructing or creating the agency, I saw that when we talk about value proposition, it's better to focus more on the user itself because at the end, the message, the services, or the products will go to the user. So this is the reason why I wrote here like user experience and customer experience in healthcare. At least that's the topic for today. So at the beginning, like let's say, what is user experience? Because there's a lot of things I can talk about user experience design, UX design, but user experience itself is a concept and is the overall experience that the person has when interacting with the product, service, or system. So if there is an interaction, then UX is there. And with interaction, I mean an action. So you have um, system A, you click or hold your mouse, or maybe are scrolling, you're doing an interaction with that concept. And then it will become another concept, a transformation. So in this case, a basic example that we use is like tomato sauce, because with tomato sauce you have different shapes for the package itself, and depending of the package, it will place itself on the food differently. So the package this time is the UX because depending on the package, the interaction will be different. It's the same tomato sauce, but the experience is different. So when it comes to healthcare, is the interactions you do not just digitally, but at the moment. Uh, um, it's easier to understand digitally because we understand that you click a button and it goes to somewhere. So it's an interaction. My key points here and why it's important to take care about UX is that we need patient-centered care. So as I said before, we are focused on the user, and this time the user is the patient. So the patient-centered care, you're focusing on all the needs, pain points on the patient and to improve it. And if you improve the user experience, you're improving the interaction that they have with your platform, with your system, or yeah, with your product, basically. Next one is effective communication, because something that doesn't improve UX actually decreases the level of success of it is communication. So if your communication is clear, it will be a success. If it is unclear or the patient has doubts about it or what is the next step, then that will be a problem. And the same goes for example, CTAs, the call to action. So if your call to action isn't clear, then the user won't understand what they need to do next for hire you or what they need to do next for acquiring this specific service and so on. So that's part of communication. And then improved efficiency and workflow is part of it, because if everything is like streamless, then it's better because then you do it quickly and user wants it to be quickly. If you can, well, it depends because in healthcare is that way. I mean, if you're ill or if you're sick, you want to be healthy, right? So you want to do it quickly. But in other industries, it's different because, for example, in entertainment, you want like that instant award reward like right now. But at the same time, in entertainment, you want the user to be there on the platform as much as possible when it comes to time frames. But in this one is the contrary. You want it to be quick, easy, and with a clear message. And then the next one is more in terms of security. So compliance with regulations and standards. If you are compliant, then of course it will you will be more trustable with the user. So this is the main idea. And with regulations and standards, not just mean like the law, but standards is more like we establish protocols and people is used to the way things are right now. So if you make something different, yes, you can be innovative, but at the same time that could be bad because it's totally different from their system, the like their goals, their foundations that the pillars that they currently have. So we need to take balance between innovation and too much innovation because too much innovation sometimes could be like the user doesn't understand the service itself. That's when it comes to UX. And the next one is customer experience. And customer experience is different because it's not just the interaction itself, but the perception of the entire thing, the entire journey. So if when we are talking with US, we are talking about one interaction, and each of those interactions we try to improve them individually. Here we are talking about what happened after the patient is already done with the service. So the follow-ups and at the same time, even the customer experience is what happened before they acquire the product or the service. So it's the entire thing. And it goes with the entire journey, and the user journey goes from discovery to then understanding the service or the product, then buying the product, and then what's next. So in this case, customer experience is important because it can improve patient retention and loyalty. And it's interesting to use like loyalty when it comes to patients in healthcare, but take it as, for example, if you are a dentist, then you want your patients to always go to the same dentist. And some people do it, and some people don't do it. So this is the case, and how to make the loyalty a standard, and that is with customer experience. Then the next one is seeking continuous improvement because that's the way you can achieve that experience. If you improve it like every day, 1% per day, uh, then at the end it will be a successful experience or a really nice experience. And the next one is better adherence to treatment plans because when a patient, and these are studies that when a patient is happier with the entire experience, they try to keep the treatment plans. Like they try to do it, to actually do it. So in this case, it's a win-win because it's not just a win for the company or for the practitioner, it's also a win for the patient itself. And that's what we want at the end, right? And how to improve UX, because there are different ways to do it. And I don't want to be too technical on this talk. So I wanted to be like more in brand terms. So designing for accessibility and inclusivity is one way to do it because accessibility is already targeting a lot of things. And how to do it? Multiple ways, but at least when it comes to digital experiences or like websites or applications, then you can use the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, is this one. You go to their website and it provides a lot of information on how to make digital content accessible to people with disabilities. And when we talk about disabilities, there are different levels of disabilities, and there are different disabilities too. So, for example, perceivable, if it is easy to see, what is the contrast of the color palette that you are choosing, for example, when it comes to design. Then operable, simple to use. Does it has a lot of buttons or maybe the navigation menu is not clear enough and so on. And if you click, it should go to the page that you are targeting. Then the next one is understandable, clear to understand. You need to try to be, when we talk about communication, as clear as possible, but at the same time, is clear doesn't mean short. It just means that the message is understandable. And the next one is robust, that is strong. And mainly for security reasons. And one way to do it, and this is more for the technical part, but this is like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to accessibility in digital interfaces or applications, is, for example, things that developers do at the end for improving accessibility is, for example, using alternative text. And this helps a lot with people with vision disabilities because it provides informative alternative text descriptions for example, for all the pictures that you have on a website. So that way, if you have a robot or an AI reading the website, if you take a picture, you don't see the picture, but you know what is happening on that picture because it has the alternative text. So part of it is this. The other one is like mobile friendliness because you want to ensure that your website is responsive. We are talking that the majority of the people that go to websites or applications, they do it on mobile and not on a laptop or PC or desktop. So if they use the mobile, then it needs to be responsive. The next one is this is more for on development, but you can ask your developer if they are implementing this. So if semantic HTML, because with semantic HTML, you are able to know what is a header, what it isn't, if this is title, subtitle, a paragraph, a quote, and so on. And this is with the code that is behind it. For example, another one is the lang attribute. This is a language code and it is between has a relationship between the ISO standard. And the thing is that when you have these readers or AI readers or bots are reading the information of the website for someone with disability, uh, then they understand that the language is English or French or whatever language it is because of this code. And there are already other standards that are used, but this is like the most generic one. So it's globally used. That is when it comes to UX. But when it comes to customer experience, there are ways to improve it too. And this is not just help the patient, but also help you on your side. So I think that when it comes to healthcare, appointments is if I I think that like is talked about often. So how to streamline your appointment system or a schedule and the check-in process. So how to make it good and at the same time try to automate it to make it like even easier to understand for the patient. So that way they don't have to wait for long hours for you to reply. They have a quick answer, and if they need the long reply, they will wait. But at least they have like an instant answer. So this graphic that we have at the left is mainly a system that I'm using on the website, on the redesign of my website. And is that whenever a Tally is a platform where you can create forms for feedback or for asking people stuff. It's a form. So when any user uh, fills a form on my website, then it goes to a router. And depending on the type of services that they were interested, they will receive a different email. So, for example, if they were looking for web design, they will receive an email focused on web design and case studies that I have done with web design and portfolio of web design specifically. If they are selecting brand strategy, then they will receive an email focused on brand strategy and so on. But all of this is automated. Why? Because that way, one, I am giving an answer like quickly, and it's not me, it's actually the bot, but it's already pre-established. Then the next one is that on each email, I'm telling them to book or schedule a call. So that's an interesting way to do it because that way, if they are not satisfied with my initial email, they won't book a call. But probably that way you are also filtering people that don't require your specific service. So that could be the case. And the platforms where you can do more automation, but like on an easier way, is Zapier and Make. And right now I prefer Make because it's cheaper and it's like doing the same stuff. Let's see how it goes because with competition, it's good because then both platforms will try to improve themselves. Now, the next one when it comes to user experience and also with customer experience is searching for feedback. If you find feedback, then you will be able to improve your entire system. And there's a key thing here with feedback, and is that we need to focus on feedback that have the greatest potential to improve the user experience or address user pain points. So there will be a lot of feedback, but you need to prioritize the feedback that you have. So prioritize new features or prioritize new services. The same goes. Then how to get this feedback? You can create multiple feedback channels. So could be a form like I showed you earlier. Could be like 5-star rate. That could be the case. Or maybe it could be a video call or even a phone call that you use and check for some questions to see if like how satisfied the patient was with the entire service and with the entire process. Not just the service itself, but the process too, because those little interactions are part of the entire experience. And then one way that like patients are more approachable to give this information is telling them that it will help for future improvements, of course. And even if you create this improvement and made a new feature, now it's better than that experience. You can even send an email to all your list of emails, and now they will know that the that improvement was implemented. So it will like create a better status for the entire services too. And do it at key touch points because if you wait a long time for asking this feedback, then probably they won't do the feedback. So do it at key touch points. For example, after a transaction, using a specific feature on your platform, or at relevant moments of the service. And the next one is that analyze data to find regular patterns or themes because okay, now you collected feedback now, but now what do you do with that? Then you have to do your research and analyze all the things that you have there. So an example of this is Mayo Clinic. So what they did is that in each of their services that they have on the website, they provided a video on what to expect for that specific service. So that way, yeah, people can read the website and the blog and so on, but with the video, it's more like visual and you can do a storytelling and connect with the user. So that improves the entire experience. And just like some key points on healthcare and telemedicine is that at least when it comes to quality outcomes, seems like everything is improving with the digital landscape because 91% of health outcomes were as good or better via telehealth. So that's a real nice number. I mean, 91% are good at the same level or even better than normal services. Then 50% of healthcare leaders say that improving the quality of care as number one reason for implementing telemedicine. So experts in the area are also implementing it. Then 64% of Americans would willing to have a video visit with the doctor. So at the past we thought that it because yeah you are looking at the doctor through the website, but after COVID everything is different. I mean after COVID the entire landscape is changed. Now when it comes to technology and geography, 39% of US physicians communicate online with patients via email, secure instant messaging, or online video conferencing. So now it's a regular thing. And of course, we are still like improving it and increasing those numbers. But now we are talking about almost for 40% of the entire US physicians. 64% of proportions of telemedicine programs that offer remote monitoring. So even more programs doing it. And at the end, like 30% of the US population does not live near the trauma center. So they need healthcare, and one way to do it is with telemedicine and with telehealth. So the future is now. It is not in a couple of months. It's not in a couple of years. It's right now. So it's not the future. It's the current experiences that we are living. And I don't know if you guys have any question.
Yeah, I have some. I can start. Well, I guess who is your ideal client, ideal customer?
On my side, like personally,
Yeah, basically, I imagine it would be someone like me or a founder that's building a product or service. Yeah, who do you think you could help the most and take them where they need to be with by using your services?
nice question. So definitely related to tech or innovation, it's a thing because I really like it. I love doing it, not just because of the niche, but because I love uh, working with people that search for innovative solutions. That's a thing. And then the next one is, yeah, someone that is focused not just B2B but B2C with actual customers. B2C doesn't mean that customers because they are selling products or services, but more on the level that they are focused on users. Because with users you can do your research and there are a lot of things to improve. I mean, it's endless. So you will be always looking for innovation. So in my case, definitely innovative solutions, B2C, people that are working B2C.
Okay, very good, thank you. And I just wanted to see if I got this right. You touched a lot on people with disabilities. Do you find in your experience that by tailoring to people with disabilities, you're inadvertently tailoring to everyone else?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely because sometimes it's not just, I mean, when we talk about disabilities, we think that, okay, I don't know, like someone lost an eye or something like that. But that's not the case because could be like old people also have disabilities when it comes to eyes vision. So if the graphic or if the contrast is not good, or if even the typography is not big enough, they won't be able to read it comfortable. So even things like that, it's important. And the same goes. It's like those little things that improve the entire experience, and not just because of the experience, but actually like Google, when you are talking about improving SEO, search engine optimization, one of the key things that they are looking, if you are complying it or not, is these standards of accessibility. So it's a win-win because on one way you are helping more people to be able to understand your message and your entire concept, and you are also helping yourself, not just because you will bring more people, but because you're improving SEO at the same time.
That's good. Yeah, that makes sense. I've never heard that, but it seems very logical. It does make sense. Um, and then I guess one more question I had for you is you expressed very much how you expressed very much what you would do with a potential client and some of the things you take them through. Um, I guess as a brief summary of how would you do it, or like how long would the process would they expect in working with you?
Like my process on web design on my services, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if a client books with you today and they say, I need help with the things that you've expressed that you can do. How would you do it? About how long would the process take? Like what's like a ballpark of what they could expect from you?
Awesome. So, for example, I have different services, but when it comes to landing page, they can spend like 2 weeks, but not just focused on developing the landing page, but understanding their business first, because the first thing that I need to do is a video call to understand their objectives, the business behind it, what are their key customer, the ICP, like creating a strategy behind it. Because yeah, I'm a designer. I want to make things look good, but at the same time, they need to work for your business too. So I am more focused into like improving conversions and so on. So first a call, and then I will make a proposal, depending on the size of the project. But for example, for landing page, 15 days, and for applications, web application or web design that takes more like 8 page or more, then between 20 and 40 days, depending of the size of the project. And after that, I will try to gather a lot of feedback between the customer and I, or yes, when I'm providing the service. Mainly, I think that with design, we do a lot of iteration. So this feedback is not just because, yeah, we need to do the iteration itself, but actually looking for improving the experience that the user have with the platform. And that's when it comes to web design. And when it comes to brand strategy, it's different because that requires more communication between the client and I, because it's a process that is constantly improving. When you do a website, it's a one-time thing. So you do it, and yeah, you will be improve some things, but later, like in a couple of months. But when it comes to brand strategy, it's like how are you putting the content out there, the content creation, or your personal brand itself, the strategy behind it, or even how to talk with customers too, but on their side. So things like that.
That's good. Thank you. I have one last question, then I'll let somebody else go. My last question is, you touched a lot about getting feedback. You said you even prefer platforms that have memberships so that you can get this feedback. How do you go about getting feedback from an existing client's database? Somebody may have 100, 1,000, 10,000 users. How do you go about getting feedback from them? Is like email your number one, or do you have other methods, or what's your best way to get feedback from users of platforms such as Telehealth Today or your other clients?
Sure. So if you have like a user database, then you should have to, like, they need to be segmented. So they need to be in different groups. So for example, this this person or this company, do they find you in the social media or maybe as a referral? Those are tags, or more segmentation like geography, or what services did you provide to that specific client. With that segmentation, you can do different things. There are some emails on that, or emails, no, let's say some users on that database that you can contact via phone, and they will answer you, and you can do the feedback, because you have done a lot of services to them, and you have this level of trust with them, so they are confident. And that's like number one, because those are the ones that you can take testimonials from easier, uh, because of the entire experience. Now, the second part could be email and email marketing. Well, yeah, email campaign, and you can do it two ways. Maybe first sending just an email as a reminder, but if it doesn't work, there that it will be a lot of percentage that it won't work. I mean, people that will answer that email will be very low, very few. And after that, you can do something like a lead magnet, but instead of be like a magnet for more services, it will be for like, I will provide you some value, some free value, and after you have this reward, then you will ask for the feedback of that specific magnet. But people that hired you earlier probably will talk about the services that you made in the past too. So it's a way to like reestablish connection or communication with people that right now are cold. So you give a lead magnet, or something valuable content, something valuable that they can have, like an instant reward. And because of that instant reward, it will be easier to communicate with them mainly.
Okay, so you basically find something that they want and use that to encourage them to communicate with you and give you feedback and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. That's good. That's awesome.
It doesn't need to be like something really big. It's just something like little, but that provides value.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good. Yeah, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Maria?
Yes, sure. I always learn new things, and the data are amazing. I didn't know that telemedicine is used so frequently today. It changed in the last years. You're right. I think it's also a matter of the pandemic and many other things. Not only maybe of the pandemic, of also of other things. But it changed a lot. I work in the field of medicine and telemedicine for 20 years now, and yeah, there is a lot of change. But my question goes in the direction of responsiveness, and I discussed it in the community a lot. But what is your view on it? Using telemedicine applications also with the iPhone and the smartphone. I mean, I guess a lot of people do it, but it has also some drawbacks because, particularly if you have imaging and diagnostic data, it's not so easy to see it on the phone, right? You need big screens. So, did you find some numbers on this, and also in terms of UX and UI? How do you see the future of medical applications in terms of responsiveness and iPhone and smartphone use, and yeah, computer
Okay,
web platform use, and so what is your view on all these topics?
sure. So I don't have numbers right now, but when it comes to phone, it should be used not too much on the actual service. So that, for example, if you book at the call and then you are talking with your doctor, you will do it on the phone. Not so much on that approach, but for the initial communication. So for your website, or for maybe a video
Yes.
that
Mhm.
then will go to your service. So for these things, a phone. But then when it comes to the service, you can do it on desktop. I don't think that there won't be a lot of problem with that. I know that there are more technologies, for example, augmented reality, AR, uh,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
it's improving. I mean, I see that it's improving more on phones. So probably there will be a trend on that. I don't have a lot of numbers. I need to do my research, but I know that AR is being used more and more on phones. So maybe if the service related to healthcare has something to be, or that could be done with AR, that could be on phone. But for
Hmm.
regular applications, I think that desktop is good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Do you have numbers, maybe not only in medicine, but in general, about distraction? Because my own experience is that on the phone you're much more distracted than on the web application. So normally on a web application you're more, or on a desktop you're more focused. This is also why I sometimes have the feeling, also with clients, in my own experience, if I'm working with people on a desktop, they are much more focused than if they're on a phone. Are there numbers about this in general, not only in medicine?
Uh, I knew the number on websites. Right now, I don't remember it, but for LinkedIn, I know, because for LinkedIn, that is a website application, so maybe it's similar. 60% of the users are searching things on LinkedIn on phone, and 40% of users are doing it on desktop. So I'm not saying that this is the case for all websites, but probably with social media, that's the case, or even more numbers, because LinkedIn is professional social media platform. So when it comes to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, of course, well, Instagram, of course, because it is an application. But when it comes to Facebook or Twitter, definitely on phone, the numbers are larger. And when it comes to websites, I don't remember the numbers, but at least 40% of the users will come through mobile, at least. So
So that
even
means you need
if
to
it's
be
not the
much,
majority,
yeah.
yeah,
You need to be much more clear in your message and in the whole design, because on the phone, I guess there's a much more distraction. A WhatsApp message can come in, whatever, a phone call
yeah,
can come in. So
exactly.
if they use it more on the smartphone, it means in your UI and UX and all your messaging, you need be much better than before, right?
Yeah, you need to synthesize it. Well, it's different in the east or in the west because
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to China or Japan, it's totally the contrary. You want everything to be there. There's a lot of things going, and if they see that it's like void or minimalistic, it's like, oh, this hasn't a lot of this doesn't have a lot of features. But in America or Europe, yeah, it's more minimalistic approach. And even when it comes to the font, for example, if your website have, I don't know, like 8 different sections, like services, social proof, then blog, then other features, and then more social proof and stuff, when it comes to the font, it's too much information. So if on a desktop you see like 4 testimonials at the same time and it's good, when it comes to your phone, you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and the next section is not there yet. So yeah, you need to synthesize as much as possible.
Mhm. Okay, so this is important for the designer to have responsiveness depending on the tool, what the user is using. It need to be responsive. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I have another question. If not nobody else has a question, it goes in the direction of also of telemedicine, and we know that there's a big trend for communities today. So I guess community is one of the biggest business options or opportunities in the future. What trends do you see in telemedicine and medicine in terms of community building, not only of practitioners, of course. I mean, we build a community of practitioners, so there it's obvious. Community building is important for the practitioners and the people who offer services. But what other business models do you see in telemedicine in terms of patients, new communities, patient practitioners? What trends do you see there?
I haven't seen like a lot of platforms focused on he- healthcare communities or communities related to healthcare. So I don't know a lot of platforms related to that, but new trends that are in healthcare in the digital landscape, definitely more video content, like a lot of
Mhm.
more video
Mhm.
content. Now there are doctors that are on TikTok and they are TikTokers now. That doesn't mean that they are not doctors. Of course, they still have patients and everything else, but people are following them. And for example, myself, I am following at least 6 different doctors, and they are not here in Spain, and maybe they are even in Europe. But I am following them because of their personal stories or because the tips that they share and so on. And that builds and creates a community, of course, on TikTok, but you can then bring them to another platform too. Uh, so I know that some of them are using uh, not Discord, but different message application platforms uh, to have their community there. So they
Mhm.
can check the video on TikTok and you can do message and stuff on another platform. And the same goes for YouTube. Like people that are doing video content on YouTube and they have another platform just focused on their community.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you think they do it with an agency or they do it by themselves, or how do you see how can they do it? I mean, they are doctors, they are doing patient work all day. So are there specialized agencies for this?
Uh, Definitely there are agencies for this, but at the same time, uh, there are also freelancers or not like
Mhm.
big agents like thinking of, yeah, we will have a TV commercial or something similar, but like a regular product that could be maybe you give them a video of 2 hours, 3 hours, not a video of 3 hours, but like different videos that in total are 3 hours long, and then the agency puts them into shorts, and then you can post it on your social media platform, for example.
Mm.
So this is done right now, not just with practitioners, but general professionals that right now are growing and growing on TikTok each day, for example. And the same
Great,
goes for YouTube Shorts because it's like the next competitor to TikTok right now.
great. Thank you. Other questions?
Okay, looks good.
Okay, well, I guess we can end a little bit early here, but yeah, you've definitely shared some good insight on where things are going and how to build these big communities and followings and get people engaged in healthcare and helping themselves in the future of everyone. So I do appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. And as always, you can catch Maria at Telehealth Today, book an appointment with her, and she will help take your business to the next level. And if you have users, she will find out what those users want, and help you accommodate them. So thank you for being here, Maria. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching the replay. And with that, we will call it a week. We'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you.
See you next
See you.
week.